Hi there, and welcome to the Panzer Campaign line of games. I'm your host, PPGChu, and welcome to a new Let's Play series, one that has been requested many times in the past. So, today we're taking a look at, or rather, today we'll be doing a introductory video, type of an episode 0, to start things off. So this will cover some of the background information on the game, and it'll also include a vote. The reason being is, or rather, one of the first things I should have said was there's a bit of a sound problem with the game, in the sense that the sound might stutter, and unfortunately there's nothing too much I can do or do any more about it. I've turned off the in-game sound. That is as best as I can to try to remedy it. I don't know what causes it, but so far from my testing it's alright, but do tell me in the comments below if it gets too bad. Moving back on topic, what is the Panzer Campaign line of games? Well, these are behemoth war games that perhaps rival things like War in the East, War in the West. Maybe you could make comparisons of it being some sort of a War in Pacific type of deal, where that game being a true slog. It's the entire Pacific theater on a day-by-day level on every single front. This is a slog in a similar vein, in the sense that it's 2-hour turns with 1 kilometer hexes, making it one of the most detailed war games possible to, or at least on scale there. So it's a title that ranges a lot of different games. There's, I think, oh my, there's like 15 or so games focusing on the Mediterranean, on the Western and Eastern front altogether. And with that said, it is a truly massive series. So one of the things I wanted to show you guys really fast was just the sheer scale of the game. So this is the farthest you can zoom out in, well, this game, Market Garden. And what we're seeing here is the campaign map. So each and every single one of the games are based on the campaign. This one stretches, or so happens to stretch, slightly less than 2 full monitor widths across here. And with that said, the largest title over here. So this is a campaign map for Moscow 42, the largest game. Again, similar scale. And what this is it's the same idea. It's well, this is a topographical map, so it's slightly different. It doesn't tell us too much about terrain, but it tells us about the elevation, right? What this shows us here is the entirety of the map, and as you can see, this stretches for quite a few, well, you know, screen widths across here. And this is a map that goes all the way from Moscow to Smolensk, and obviously it being a Eastern Front title, it is very, very big. So yeah, there's a lot of reasons to play the series. It's wonderfully in-depth like this. It features a lot of different things, especially in just, you know, 1 or 2 of the titles, really. Some of those aspects we will be talking a bit about here. But to serve as a general introduction to Market Garden, what it was and what it was meant to do here and how it was really planned was, well, the idea was to have paratroopers drop behind the Axis lines when the advance through Europe kind of slowed down by a bit. The idea was to capture bridges, major towns, and to hold them long enough. So bridges, all of these VPs are very critical crossing points over canals and things. Lots of choke points and inside the swamps of the Belgium, Holland area over here. The idea was to just kind of get paratroopers to lock down those areas, and in the meantime you have this armored force driving through the countryside, and hopefully this mechanized force was able to push through the Axis lines, link up with the paratroopers fast enough, in the sense that ideally the tanks do excellently in the countryside, move into a town, the city was already captured, the tanks go right through over the captured bridges and move on like that. Unfortunately, it didn't work out too well in real life, but it was a solid plan. There were a few different things here and there. I'm not going to get into the details that messed it up, but it makes for a very interesting game. It's also one of the smallest campaigns inside the series, which makes it a nice introductory one that's very, very manageable. So this leads to a vote. There's quite a few different main campaigns in the game. It also comes with a fair amount of different scenarios as well, but the main star of the show here really is the main campaign. So there's a few of these alternative campaigns as well, and with that said, I want to open this as a vote to the one that people want. So there's a historical campaign, This is a operational level game in the sense that you don't necessarily make broad strategy decisions, if you will. You just kind of implement them as best as you can. But then again, I mean, this is all highly variable, but that's roughly the picture. There's a few alternative campaigns which clears a few things. For example, some paratroopers were delayed. You can make this a bit of a more balanced game if you want to just kind of undelay them like that, artificially undelay them. There's two settings for maximum allied effort and increased allied effort, because they didn't devote everything to this push, if you will. So you have a few things like that to increase the allied strength here. There's also this interesting option, the historical campaign with poll options, and what this means was the Polish had a paratrooper formation, and with that said, with this campaign option, I think it adds an extra turn to the mix where you can pick out where the Polish paratroopers will land, giving you slightly more options as to how you want the campaign to go. So it adds that layer of strategy to it. It's not that much, but it's fairly interesting. There's also another one, again, increased airborne drops, and again, these are interesting what-if scenarios. So getting back on the game map, I mean, we start off with all this, all of these troops inside the bottom. Eventually we get some paratroopers as they kind of go through the turns here. Either way, this will be either a 92 turn or a 72 turn slog at most. Chances are is I will probably play through only about 60 of the turns. The reason I'll talk a little bit about later on, but one thing that I want to highlight right now is kind of the pacing of the game. It's fairly interesting, and it's actually one of the reasons why I chose this title over the other ones inside the series. So as the Allied player, you kind of have to make these decisions between whether or not, say, you want to push really, really fast through the countryside, or get your troops enough time to kind of secure their areas. So it's a trade-off between speed versus kind of, well, security, really. There's a few different things to mix up through there between, you know, how many troops do you want to post along your supply routes versus how many are actively driving forwards down along this route here. And likewise, I mean, from the enemy's perspective, it's also this jog where, firstly, you gotta deal with the British tanks rolling down the road here, and on another thing, you might as well make the investment in trying to retake some of those towns held by paratroopers here, and perhaps, you know, some of the canals here and here and here and all that, more or less, because of course that well, if you can hold down those points, you really slow down the offensive as well. So it's a very interesting kind of asymmetrical game that really flourishes in multiplayer if you can find someone else with enough time or patience to play this, really. So and again, it's a very interesting game. Another thing you can do as the Axis is that, I mean, if the enemy doesn't do their job in holding down their supply routes, I mean, you can kind of sneak a few troops around the back and try to go from there. But again, that's risky. I mean, you can lose your troops as well. You can get you know, once you start losing one or two divisions, things on the home front become really, really difficult. So again, very, very interesting game with a lot of operational decisions that you have to make. With that said, I wanted to take a look at this. Unfortunately, again, sound problems and time commitments aside, I didn't have any time till now. But luckily, well, rather luckily now, my timetables has been freed up to some extent. I'll give you guys right until, you know, the end of June here to go forwards with this. And well, with that said, I think I'll start the series after that time properly with the vote tallied and all. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye for now.